school for obviously doing nails or anything. I haven't taken any courses. I've just learned from everything I've watched from YouTube. And, um, I'm here to show you my tips and tricks on how to do it. Um, because not everyone can afford school and not everyone wants to do nails for other people. They just want to do nails for themselves. So that's why I'm here. So I did make a post on my community tab and I explained the items that you will be needing. If you want, you can go back and read those, but I'm going to go through everything. And I'm going to try to explain everything as best as I can. So one of the things that you're going to need, obviously, is monomer. And this is just regular monomer. Another thing you're going to need is going to be acetone. It can be any percentage. This one just happens to be, let's see, what's the percentage? Does it say the percent? It's 98% acetone. It can be really any acetone. It all depends on the acrylic. So, and you need obviously a 3D Kolinsky, I would suggest, acrylic brush. And this is the one that I use. I purchased this off of Amazon and it's about $10. Um, and then you're going to need your acrylics. Now, I understand and I know that not everyone can use acetone. Acetone is not something that you necessarily need, but it is something that is used for the nails to actually for the flowers to start to set a little bit faster. Again, I want you to start practicing with the acrylics. Why? Because every acrylic is different. Some acrylics might need you to use acetone. For example, slow setting, either monomer and acrylic will require you, or just a lot more patience. Um, so if you choose not to, or if you don't have the acetone with you at this very moment. Um, so just like every other brush, you need to learn your liquid to powder ratio. I'm going to try to explain that as best as I can. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this dapping dish that I have right here. And I'm going to pour some monomer on inside this dapping dish. So you don't really need a lot. This is actually very, very small quantity. Um, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these. These you can purchase off of Hobby Lobby and even on Amazon. This helps measure whatever liquid you're going to pour, whether it's monomer or whether it's acetone. So now I'm going to pour the acetone. Now, the amount of acetone depends on, again, on how the acrylic actually sets. So I'm going to use about, let me show you, about that much of acetone. And I'm just going to pour it in there because I need these flowers to set a bit faster so that I could show you more. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to practice the liquid to powder ratio. That is very important, just like with any other brush and with any other acrylics. So for example, another thing that you might need are embellishments or rhinestones, which is something that I didn't take out, but I'm just going to use these ones, for example, as reference, just, you know, and then I can do like a flower. Let me see. Because I did this set yesterday. This is my birthday set. And I did do 3D flowers, as you can see. That was my first time trying to do um, the Clover flower, actually. And it worked out pretty well. Let me find a rhinestone that I can use so I could also show you how to do a side flower. I'm going to show you how to do this type of flower and the pointy ones, which is the same way you're going to use. It's the same technique you're going to use to do leaves. Obviously, when it comes to this type of art, it doesn't really matter. Hi, Sandra. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, OCD Beauty. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to you. Don't forget to hit that like button and share this video, share this live if you want your nail bestie to learn how to do 3D flowers. So, like I was saying, liquid to powder ratio, it's very important. It all depends on the type of size of the flower that you want to do. For example, I'm going to practice on this part right here, different beads so that you can see. Let me choose just this color. And I'm going to show you what I do with the brush. So I'm going to dip my brush, right? Burp it. And then if you want really big, this is like I said, a number 4. So if you want big petals, just dip it. That's all you got to do. And then when you grab your powder, you're going to grab it at a 45-degree angle to make a bead. Leave it there for a few seconds, and it's going to give you a nice size or big size bead. And then if it's a little dry, as you can see, you can just put it there. And what you're going to do is you're going to poke that bead until you see that it's starting to polymerize, until you see that it's shiny. The reason for the poking is what you're doing is you're releasing whatever left monomer is inside this brush onto that bead. Now, yes, you can see it's a perfectly round bead, right? So the reason I'm saying you have to be careful with the amount of monomer that you have on your brush and how important it is to liquid to powder ratio. It's because, for example, I'm going to dip the brush again as if I was going to pick up a big bead, right? And let's say I decide to not leave it there with enough time to pick up a big bead and I end up picking a smaller bead. When I place that bead, you're going to see that it's going to start to run towards the sides. And it's going to get like really, it's going to look big. But if I turn it on the side, it has no structure. It's going to run. It's going to be a runny bead. So that's why it's important. Although this is fixable, believe it or not, you can definitely dry your brush and then kind of pick up the bead on the sides. And again, poke that bead as you're making it rounder. And what you're doing is you're removing a little bit of that excess acrylic. And now you gave the bead a little bit more body, as you can see. So it's a little bit more on the fluffier side. So that's why I'm saying it's so important, the liquid to powder ratio. It is, you can actually, in fact, pick up smaller beads with this brush. All you got to do is when you dip your brush, right, you dip it completely, you're going to tap to release some of that monomer, and then you can pick up a smaller bead. And then when you place that bead, it's not going to be as runny. It is polymerizing just fine. But if I put it like this, it still has, some acrylic there in the center to work with. It's not going to be running everywhere. So you can pick up different sizes with this brush. As I showed you, this is a big bead and this one is just a smaller bead. That's how you can learn how to do different sizes of petals. So the second thing I'm going to show you is, let's say you want to do this type of flower in particular. So we're going to start with, I'm going to dip my brush inside the monomer. I'm not going to tap it because I want a big bead. I'm on a 45-degree angle, going to pick up the bead. And it's a big enough bead, right? I'm going to place that bead. I'm going to poke it if it looks a little bit dry so that I can release the rest of the monomer that's inside the brush, like I said earlier. And as you can see, the bead is shiny. So this is about time right now. So the reason why we add the acetone is so that we can do the petals faster. Although you do still have to wait. The perfect time to start creating that petal is once that bead becomes um, matted. It doesn't look as shiny. So we usually wait a few seconds. As you can see, this is the height of the bead. And now, as you can see, it's not as shiny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my brush like this downwards, and I'm going to put pressure at a 45-degree angle, and I'm just going to push just half of the brush. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me that nice petal um, shape. And it's going to look more like a tear, as you can see, like an upside down tear. But when I turn it to the side, you can still see a little bit of height here. So I'm not putting full pressure on the brush, because if I were to do that, this is what's going to happen. See? It has no height. It still might look like a petal, but it doesn't have enough height to make it more like 3D. That's why these petals have some sort of height at the end up here. It all depends on the pressure that you put on your brush. Now, practice those things before you start doing the 3D flowers, and practice them constantly until you get your liquid to powder ratio right. Now, let's say you practice enough and you want to do another petal. Again, and mind you, I'm talking about bigger flowers. Let's say I'm going to pick up a smaller bead, right? I dip my brush. I'm going to tap, and then I'm going to pick up a smaller bead. I'm going to place that bead down, and I'm going to let it polymerize. As you can see, it's very shiny, the bead. Thank you. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this live if you find this helpful, and subscribe. You can watch this at any other time if you're busy and you can't practice right now with me. So if I want a smaller petal, I just have to wait until that bead, it's a little bit matted. It doesn't look so shiny. And then you push again at a 45-degree angle towards, like this way. And you just push just a little bit. Just a little bit down. You're going to put more pressure at the tip of the brush that you're going to do than the body of the brush, if you can understand that. So even though it's a smaller bead, it still has some height here. I just have trouble, honestly, doing smaller flowers and doing smaller beads. Oh, thank you so much, Peggy. Shout out to you. Shout out, Cordy. Thank you so much for being here. Now, let's say you want to do this type of petal, which is the same process for a flower as it is for a leaf. So let's just, for learning purposes, let's say we're going to do a leaf. Let me choose the color pink. Now I'm going to dip my brush completely. I'm not going to tap it because I want a big bead. 45-degree angle. I'm going to pick up the bead. I'm going to place that bead down. I'm going to poke it because it seems a little bit dry. Now, when you're working with leaves, you don't necessarily have to wait completely until it's fully ready to be worked on, meaning until it's matted. You can start working on it right now, actually. Just put a little bit of pressure, just a little bit. And then you turn your brush to the side, and with the tip of your brush, you're going to do a long line, as long as you can take it. Sorry, it's not focusing. And then you're going to move these two sides together And there you have your leaf. And it's the same process if you were going to use this as a for a flower, for example, or just a regular leaf. If you want to make it look even more beautiful, what you can do is you can grab one of these, and then you're going to do the lines. For example, if it was a leaf, before the acrylic sets, to make it look even more like a leaf. Thank you, Peggy. And then because you started working on it so fast, you can still kind of mold it a little bit and make it look perfect, perfect in your eyes. Now, if it was for a flower, for example, let me go back to the pink. I'm going to place the bead down. You can count. Another thing that can help is counting. So I can count, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, it's still shiny, but I'm going to use that to my advantage because then I can play with it a little bit longer. And I'm going to press down at a 45-degree angle, push down. And then I'm going to turn my brush to the side, and then with the tip of the brush, I'm going to do that long line in the middle all the way up. And then I'm going to put these 2 points together, pushing them towards the center. And then obviously you can move this part right here a little bit closer together. It's kind of hard for me to do it right now because of the apex of this swatch stick. Let me see. Sorry, wasn't focusing. So that's a way to do example this type of petal, and you can use this as a flower. As you can see, leave it like that for a flower, and then you can add the lines if you want to make a leaf. So any questions so far? Like I was saying, it's very important to know your liquid to powder ratio. It's also important to know how much pressure you're going to use with the brush. So for example, when I'm putting pressure on the petal, I use this much of the brush up to here. No more than that. Because if I put more pressure, it's going to look too flat. Of course, there's different flowers that you can do that require that much pressure. And then you can do, for example, let's just, for learning purposes here. Let's say you want to do a rose. That's the type of petal that requires a lot more pressure. Again, I'm going to dip my brush. I'm not going to tap it because I want a big bead. Pick up the bead. For a rose, when it comes to a rose, what you're going to do is you're going to make it not really rounded, but you're going to extend that bead. Make it look kind of like a C or a moon shape, right? Once you do that, you're going to wait a few seconds until that petal or that bead is a little bit more dry. And then you can put a lot more pressure on it, right? All the way around. Obviously, you're going to want that rose to have sort of like a point, so you can do the line in the middle very lightly. And then move it further up. If you want that petal, sorry, it's not focusing. If you want that petal to have a little bit more shape, you can go under here and do a little bit of kind of like wavy but you can continue to play with it because you already started working with it with enough time. So if it starts to set too fast, then you know you have too much acetone inside your monomer, or you waited a little bit too long. So those things are very, very important when it comes to, I buy everything off of Amazon. Everything. My acrylics, these color acrylics, I made them myself. I just buy a random clear acrylic, whatever clear acrylic you feel comfortable working with, and then I buy uh pigments. What are they called? Oh my god, I have the name in in the tip of my tongue. Um Mica powders. So whenever you're buying powders to mix with your acrylic, make sure that they don't have any sort of oil. Like there's specific powders that are for like making bath bombs or anything, bath related. If it says that it has oil in it, I would not recommend you using that type of pigment now. But that's another class for a different time. So again, let's create the second petal for the rose. Pick up the petal, I mean the bead. And then I'm going to place it right here. Sorry, let me get to a point where you guys can see. And then I'm going to poke to release the monomer on that bead. Now, the bead is not exactly the perfect shape. I'm going to make that shape work. And I'm going to move the acrylic where I need it to make it look kind of like a C, like I said, or just half a moon. You can just do that by brushing just in the center of that bead, and it's going to take that shape. I'm going to try it in a way where you guys can see. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put a little bit of pressure going around that petal. And then if you want that pointy side of the petal, just brush just a little bit, very minimum pressure in the center of that bead, and then make it look a little bit pointy. And then you can put a little bit more pressure on the rest of the petal, as you can see. Sorry, it's hard to kind of show you guys so that you can see perfectly. And then because this is a swatch stick, it's easy, easier. Now I'm going to pick up another bead. And I'm going to place that bead here. Now this bead, it's a bit bigger, but we're going to make it work. I'm going to release the rest of the monomer so that it can fully polymerize. And again, it looks rounded. Just push towards the center of that bead and stretch it out. Kind of do this motion, but just with the tip of your brush. As it's setting, and then you're not going to have that much problems with it. Again, we're going to try with just minimum pressure. We're going to make that petal a bit wider, and then in the center you want to kind of make it actually look like a rose petal, right? So you're gonna want that tip, and to do that you just need the tip of your brush, pull up just a tiny bit, and then you can continue to play with the rest of the petal because you still have time. And then now we're gonna move it a little bit more. Again, dip the brush, do not tap, pick up a bead, And then you're going to place that bead here. That's how you go. This is the bead that you're going to use to connect all of those petals together. I'm going to poke this to release the rest of the monomer that's within inside the brush. So as you can see, this is the bead I'm going to connect all of these petals, and then we can start working with the inside petals. And as you can see, I made it look like a moon shape, and then I'm going to kind of put a little bit of pressure down to make it look wider. And then with the tip, I'm just going to brush a little bit in the middle of that bead to give that pointy rose looking shape. Right? And then you can do the same thing, repeat the same process. You can do, let's say for the outside beads, you did 4. So the inside, we're going to do 3. Now for this one, I need smaller beads. So I'm going to dip, tap, pick up. And then I'm going to place that bead right in the middle between 2 of those petals. I'm going to poke it so I can release the rest of the monomer. And to not make it look like a bead, I'm just going to put pressure in the center and make it kind of like a moon shape. Okay, then I'm going to put a little bit of pressure. And I'm going to brush that center to make that side pointy. You can do 3, or you can even do 2 actually. So dip the brush, tap, pick up the bead, because obviously you need a smaller bead. And let's say I decide to place that bead here in between 2 of the petals. Once it starts to fully polymerize, you can push towards the center and kind of do this motion to make it look like a moon shape. When it starts to polymerize, then you're going to give this petal a little bit more structure. And then we have the tip right here of that. Okay. So now we have the 2 inside ones. And then the last one, I'm going to dip, tap, pick up the bead. And I'm going to place that bead right in the center. Now, I'm not going to do anything with that bead just yet. This bead, for example, the center bead of the rose, I'm just going to let it polymerize a bit. It had a little bit too much monomer. So again, like I said, we can still fix it just by reshaping that bead and removing a little bit of that excess monomer by poking it with the dry brush. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do kind of like this motion, right? Like a C, kind of like a backwards. Instead of doing like, or you can do it like that too. But instead of brushing, I'm going to dig into it. So just with the tip, poke, 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 poke. And then we're going to do a kind of like that round motion. to make that center of that rose. And we can open this as much as we want. And there's the center of your rose. If I didn't have to hold this so close to the phone, it would look much better. Unfortunately, I need to focus on one thing, and it is to make it look, better for you guys to see it. So, okay, let's start with our first actual flower. Let's say you've been working on your liquid to powder ratio. You have been playing with the acrylic. Let me see. Oh, this is the one. Okay. And let's say you've been doing this for a while. So what we're going to do is I'm going to place a rhinestone right in the center. So I need my glue. I'm going to use this glue, for example. And I'm going to use my flashy. So we're going to do something like this. Obviously, this is an embellishment, what you see here, that's round. And then I just put on the inside the middle, I just put like a big caviar bead. That's all I did for the center. You can do that, or you can do what I'm about to do right now. I'm just doing this just to show you guys. So it doesn't really have to be perfect. Nobody gets it perfect from the beginning. It is something that takes practice. So in the middle, or wherever I want to place that rhinestone, I'm going to put the glue. After I do that, I'm going to pick up my rhinestone. Place it where I want it. And then I'm going to flash cure. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Peggy. They look like they're too much, my nails, I know. But this is my birthday set, so yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to hit that like button. I would really, really appreciate it. So I have blue, purple, orange, yellow, pink. This is blue, this is green. So which color would you like the flower to be? This is where I want you guys to participate. I'm gonna do and work with whatever it is that you want. Which color do you want? Do you want a blue flower? Do you want a pink one? A orange, purple, or yellow flower? What color would you like to see? Let me know. Come on, don't be shy. Thank you. Which color would you like to see? Green? You want a green flower? Thank you, Gary, for participating. Okay, so let's do a green flower. Now, my second question is, what kind of petal do you want? Do you want this round petal, or do you want this longer looking petal? Because I can show you both. I'll do the next. Okay, so purple. So the first color I was given was green, then purple, then yellow. So that's the order I'm going to use it. I'm going to do green, then purple, then yellow, because those are the colors you guys chose. Okay, so you want the round one. And then I'm going to use the pink one. Okay. Thank you for participating. So you guys want the round one. Okay. The round one is the easiest one. You do need patience. Okay. I got you. Let's do the round one. You need a lot of patience for the round one, because you need to wait a little bit longer than if you were going to do the other petal. So I'm going to dip. Again, This is a number 4 Kolinsky brush, and this is the shape. This is a number 4. It doesn't say it on the brush anymore. You can buy this off of Amazon. Everything that I'm using, you can get it off of Amazon. I buy all my products from Amazon. So I'm going to dip my brush again. Let's burp it, dip it, grab my first bead. It's going to be a bigger bead. I'm going to do bigger beads because you guys need to see. Oops. Almost made a mistake there. Okay. Now I'm going to let it polymerize. You see how shiny it is? The bead? You can see with the light how shiny this is. No problem. I do not have an Amazon storefront, but I am thinking of creating one at this point because I know it'll be a much easier thing to do for everyone. No problem, Peggy. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you very much. So it all depends. Again, this is going to polymerize as fast as either the acrylic sets, because some acrylics set faster than others, or as much acetone as you add inside of your monomer. So I'm working here. See how it looks a little bit matted? It's not as shiny. This is a perfect time to work on it. And then with the brush straight, you're going to push towards the rhinestone at a 45-degree angle. You're going to use most likely half of the brush. I waited a little bit longer, so I have to put a little bit more pressure. See, it depends, like, on how long do you wait. The longer you wait, the more pressure you have to put down. But of course, I was explaining, so that's the thing. My flowers, I like to do 6 petals for some reason. Then I'm going to place my other bead right here and leave it alone. You can pick up to 2 beads at a time. I'm going to pick up a second bead. And I'm going to place it right here and leave it alone. Now this one, as you can see, it's running. It had too much monomer. You can still save it. Just pull all that product towards the center and make it a little ball again. Dry your brush and move that bead. Make it a little bit rounder to give it a little bit more body. See, this one is not as runny because it didn't have so much monomer. But then you're going to push down at a 45-degree angle towards the rhinestone. And you're going to use very little pressure if you do it on time. Same with this one. I'm going to fix it because it looked like it was a little bit runny. And then I'm going to push at a 45-degree angle down. Just a little bit of pressure. See? This one, because it was so runny, it looks a little bit bigger, but you can still fix it because the acrylic is not fully set. And then I'm going to go to this one, to this petal, and I'm going to push a little bit down. You can make this wider if you want. Just make this motion when you're pressing down. The more you press down and the more you do that motion, the bigger and the rounder that petal is going to be. Now that I showed you how I pick up the bead, I don't have to show you that. I just have to show you how I do the flower. I'm going to pick up this bead, place it, leave it alone, pick up another bead, place it, leave it alone. I'm going to pick up another bead. The better you get, the faster you can get at this. I know it looks like a mess right now, But don't worry, we can fix this. Cut in the center right here and then move that acrylic to make it a little bit rounder. Okay. What matters is the finish look. See, it was running and then I moved it. Again, 45-degree angle, push down. 45-degree angle, push down. And then this one, 45-degree angle, push down. It looks a little bit weird because I was picking up too many beads, but I can still work with it and I can still fix it to make it a little bit better. I just have to be a bit more patient, which is something I don't have. Sorry, I do not have patience. But that's how you can start doing your flower. I did the bottom petals bigger than the top ones. This is horrible. It's a bad way to show you guys. You want, okay. So I've done that before actually. Okay. So you want to do that? You want to give me a challenge? Okay, bestie, I got you. A flower that each petal is a different color. Okay, let's start all over again. Let's go with the rhinestone. Those flowers look so pretty. The rainbow flowers. So let's say I'm going to put the glue right here. And then let me find the rhinestones. Pick the rhinestone. Place it where I want it. And then each petal a different color. That's a really good idea. I've done those flowers before and they look so, so beautiful. Okay. Let me open the other colors. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do have to use the green actually. Green. Blue. Orange. No, you don't necessarily have to add a stone. But it is good when you're starting because that will help you with, how you're pressing and towards where you're pressing. But no, you don't have to. So you see this right here? That's exactly how the flower is going to look. That's the order I'm going to use. Same thing, round, right? Oop. Okay. We're starting in a flower. We burp the brush. Let me get into an angle where I don't have to be so close and you guys are able to see. Is that good for you guys? Can you see okay? Okay. Let's pick up the first bead. place the bead. Poke it a little bit if it's a little bit too dry until it starts to fully polymerize. And as you can see, that bead is looking nice and round and shiny. Okay, now it's been there a few seconds. Once to start to look a little bit matted, like the acrylic is actually setting, then you start working on it. So I'm going to push again down, 45-degree angle straight. Just a little bit of pressure. And you have your first petal. I'm going to pick up the other petal. We're going to place that petal and release it. When you're placing the petal, be mindful that it's going to run in whatever direction you put that bead on. Like if it's like this, it's going to run towards this way. So you can turn your finger like that to make it look and make it stay more rounded. So that's just another tip. Again, 45-degree angle in the middle of that. Just poking it a little bit. Not much work to do. Now we're going to do this petal on the other side. And that petal will be blue. Once it starts to look like it's fully polymerized, wait until it starts to look a little bit matted. Don't wait until it's fully matted because then it's going to be harder for you to work with. Again, down just a little bit. Then we're going to turn the swatch stick upside down and we're going to do the same thing. Start with the middle petal. That way, it's also very important how you start your flower. It's always better to start with, for example, if I was to do, and if I was a beginner, for example, this flower, it's good to start with the first, either top or bottom. 1, 2, then we go on the sides. 3, 4, 5, 6. That's another way you can do the flowers. We're going to leave it. I'm sorry, you guys weren't seeing. My bad. Yes. The next flower, I will show you how to do it differently. Then you push again at a 45-degree angle down. Just very lightly. Then you're going to pick up your other bead, place it, leave it alone. You're going to see that it starts to fully polymerize slowly. You don't even have to do much to that petal. Yes, my technique mixing the acrylic is still the same. That's how you save money. Doing your own stuff, making your own mixes. And I do those type of videos exactly for that reason, to show people how to save money. Because it's, bad time right now financially for a lot of people, including myself. I'm no different. I'm no different than you. A lot of people think that because, I have a YouTube channel, I have it all made. Nope. Trust me. YouTube doesn't pay as well as a lot of people think. I'm going to wait for that bead to fully polymerize. As you see, it's still shiny, so I'm not going to touch it. Hi, Cordy. And then once you wait a few seconds, you can push down straight at a 45-degree angle, just a little bit. And there's your flower. See? I know, right? I told you these flowers look really pretty. Now, I can show you how to do a flower with this type of petal. You want me to do that type of flower? With the longer petals? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Yes, no, maybe, so. Let me know. I want you guys to participate. Let me know what you want to see. Yes? Okay. I gotcha. So you want me to make it overlapping? Okay. So let's say I'm doing something like this, overlapping one flower with the other. So I'm going to choose a color that is different. Sorry, you can't see. My bad. Place the bead. Just poke it a little bit to release some of that monomer. Like I said, this type of flower does not require you to wait until it's fully polymerized, until it's fully ready, meaning when it's matted. If it's still wet looking like this, you can still do it. Just wait a few seconds so that it doesn't run together again. Because if you're doing it too soon, if you do the petal too soon, it's going to run all the way together again. So I'm going to push down. Again, 45-degree angle, same technique. Except this time, I'm going to turn my brush to the side. With that tip of the brush, I'm going to do a long line in the middle of that petal. And then I can push this to the sides to make it wider. And then I can meet these two tips together. Sorry, you can't see. Meet the two tips together. Okay. Now let's do a different color. Let's choose green. Don't forget to hit that like button, you guys. It'll help me out a lot. And share this live if you find it helpful. Again, you don't have to wait a full time. So just press down at a 45-degree angle. And then with the tip of the brush, you're going to go from the bottom of that bead all the way up as long as you can take it. Clean your brush. You can move those petals to the side like this, side, side, and then you pull those two tips together. Let's do yellow this time. Poke it because it was a little dry. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Again, you don't have to wait. Just count about 6 seconds and that should be good enough. Push down at a 45-degree angle. And then with the tip of the brush, turn it to the side. Go all the way up until you can't no more. And then, like I said, you can push these to the side, this petals, to make this petal look wider. And then the tip, make it meet with the other one. Remove whatever excess you have. And that's if you're working with it straight. Because another way I can show you is exactly what I did with this petal. This, I made it, instead of going up straight, I did kind of like a curve. You can do that as well. And those look really pretty as well. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to do the same thing, but on the top here, so that you can see. So I'm going to start with orange. Grab my bead. Let's say I'm going to place it right here. I'm going to tap this a little bit to release some of the monomer. It's nice and wet. I'm going to count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to push down again at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to put a little bit more pressure because I need this petal to be a lot wider. And then what I'm going to do is, with the tip, instead of going straight, I'm going to turn and make kind of like a curve with it. See? And then you can still meet those two. And then this part of the petal, you can push down a little bit more to make it a little bit wider. As you see, I just went in a curve. I didn't go straight. Thank you. I love me a good long nail. I can do another rose, no problem. Let me finish this one and then we go to the rose. Which color? Let's go with pink. I'm going to place that bead here. Poke it a little bit because it's a little bit too dry. Clean the brush and move the bead where I want it. We're going to wait about 6 seconds and you can count. Hi, Christine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Push down at a 45-degree angle. And then again, turn your brush to the side and gonna do that long line, but you're gonna do the curve. Let's do it this way. Then meet those two tips together in the direction you're going, and then move this to the sides like this. Put a little bit of pressure. And you can go once again and repeat that same process because you still have time to play with the bead. Okay, let's do one more bead. We're going to choose blue. I'm going to place it right here. Tap it to release the rest of the monomer. See how it's running towards this side? I don't know if you can see. You see the bead is kind of running towards this way. That's why you have to be very aware of how you have your your nail position. But it's okay because we're going to do a curve anyways. So again, 45-degree angle, push down straight. And then with the tip all the way up, but you're going to go on a curve. See? So it starts technically with this process. And then you can do this type of flower doing this process, and that's the same process you're going to use to do leaves. Now I'm going to create a leaf and then I'm going to go to the rose, okay? I've used every color. And we have green down here. So let's do an orange leaf. Pick up the bead. Place the bead. Poke it if it's a little bit too dry so it can release the rest of the monomer inside that bead. Again, 45-degree angle towards the center. Push down. With the tip of the brush, turn it to the side and go straight up, or whatever direction you feel like it. Sorry. Move those two tips in the middle. You can expand this side like this, pushing towards the side. And then to make it that leaf effect, you can use a cuticle pusher. Dip it inside the same color of acrylic so it doesn't stick. Because remember, the acrylic is still wet, so it's going to stick most likely. And then you can do those lines. And to do the lines, you want to go at an angle. You can still play with it a little bit. See? And that's how you make it look like a leaf. So we did the round flower. We did the overlap flower in a different shape. We did the overlap flower with the curved petals. You don't necessarily have to do them like this. You can go in the opposite direction, whatever direction you want. I'm just showing you how it's just the same process technically. Every petal starts with the same process, which is the bead, and then in the middle. The only ones that are different are the roses, and that's where we're going to go now. What color would you like the rose to be, or do you want it to be multicolored just like the previous flower? See how it looks? It looks so pretty. What do you want to see the rose? Different color petals or just one color? And if it's just one color, let me know which color you want to see the rose. Come on, I need you guys to participate. Multicolor? Multicolor? Thank you for everyone who's participating, by the way. I appreciate you very much. Now, I'm not 100% the best when it comes to roses. I still remember my first set of roses looked like pancakes. And I say that and I laugh at it because this process should be fun. Yes, it is complicated, but do not give up on your journey. Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 voted multicolor. So, okay. Let's go with the multicolor since we have all the colors around me. Dip my brush again. Pick up a nice big bead. And as you can see, I don't have any rhinestone in the middle. The good thing about the roses, though, is that you don't have to... you put the kind of the rhinestones at the end. And that's if you want to. You don't necessarily have to. Now, I'm going to move this bead. And I'm going to give it a moon shape. Kind of brushing it with the tip. And I'm going to extend that as wide as I can. And then I'm going to press down very lightly. Make it look like a fan, kind of. Once you do this, you want that tip, right, of the rose. So you can go and brush a little bit in the middle. Okay, now we're going to go and pick up the other petal. Let's go with green. I'm going to place it right here overlapping the other petal. I'm going to wait for it to fully polymerize until like it looks nice, shiny, and round. Once it's like this, then we're going to do the moon shape in the middle to kind of extend that petal. Like that. And then we're going to push down, kind of brushing it. I'm not really pushing down because I want height. That's what's going to make it look 3D, the height. Okay, gonna move this again, and I'm gonna pick my next color, which is yellow. Again, I'm gonna place the bead overlapping that last petal. I'm gonna wait for it to fully polymerize. Again, same process. I'm gonna wait a few seconds, and then I'm gonna start to reshape that bead the way I want it. See, I'm making this movement like a moon. And then you're going to brush up a little bit. It's kind of more like a brushing motion. Brushing the center of that rose, the petal. I'm sorry, you can't even see what I'm doing. I'm so sorry. I wish there was like a button that you guys could press and it'll beep. You know, it'll give me that signal like, hey, you're not, I can't see what you're doing. I'm sorry, bestie. And then we're going to do our fourth petal. And that fourth petal is going to overlap these two. So that way we have the outside petals of that rose. And we're going to go with pink. Again, we're going to wait for that bead to fully polymerize. And then I'm going to push up and make that moon motion to stretch that bead. And now we're going to go and brush. Oh, sorry. Brush. And then in the middle, you brush a little bit more to make it pointy. Okay. Now, for the middle petals, what you're going to do is you're going to place the bead overlapping two of the petals. So, for example, I'm going to place it right here. I'm going to do that moon shape right here, and it's going to overlap onto these two petals. And that color is going to be orange. Place it down. Wait until it fully polymerizes and it's nice and round. Hi, Guadalupe Torres. Thank you for being here. Okay, now again, we're going to move this petal up. I'm going to do that moon shape overlapping those two petals. And then I'm going to brush up. This is more like a brushing process because you want the kind of the height of it. See? That's what I mean by height. The other petal is going to overlap these two petals. And that one is going to be blue. I'm going to place that bead right there. Let it polymerize. Thank you for being here, by the way. Appreciate you all. Don't forget to hit that like button. Now we're going to, again, reshape that bead and make it overlap those two colors. And we're just going to brush up. It's literally a brushing motion. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I'm horrible at this. Now the next petal is going to overlap the pink and the blue. And we're going to go with purple again. And we're going to place that bead right here. We're going to wait for it to fully polymerize. It's going to look like a blob in the middle if it has too much monomer, which is okay, really. Because again, you're going to reshape it anyways. Make that moon motion. And now we're going to just brush. I mean, actually, you should wait a few seconds before you start brushing, because again, if you start too soon, it's going to go back together to the way it was. It's going to go again into a bead. So now it looks a little bit matted. Now I start to brush. Brushing, brushing, overlapping on the blue. Brush, brush with the tip. Overlapping on the pink. On the blue again. The pink, and then the center of that petal, we're brushing it upwards. See? Now we can do another petal here, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to work on the center of that bead, which is going to be green. Then place that bead right in the center. Move it to where it has to go. Clean your brush. It's very important that you clean your brush constantly. Now this bead, for example, we have to wait until it starts to look a little bit matted, meaning it's starting to set. And you're going to see why, because again, we're going to do a round motion instead of brushing. It's a round motion that we're going to do. And if I do the round motion too soon, guess what's going to happen? It's going to go again into its original shape. With the tip of the brush. And then in the middle, you can go like this, round, 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 to make that round petal, or that definition in the middle, to make it actually look round. Just with the tip. It doesn't really require much pressure. See? Round, 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 round. And here we have the rose. And it has height. See? And then there was the swirl. Yep. Thank you, everybody. You guys are awesome. So, you want to see how I did this flower right here? The 3-leaf clover. Let me know. We can try to do this flower right here. It's very, very simple. It looks complicated. No problem, Gary. It looks complicated, but it's really not. Oh, I can't wait for you guys to try it. Listen, I have a link in the description box to my Instagram because my Instagram name is my legal name. And you can go and follow me there. And please send me pictures. I would love to see your flowers. Trust me. Yes? Okay. So which color do you want? Again, do you want a multicolor one? It looks like I have a rainbow audience here today. Um, do you want different colors or do you want one particular color? And if you do, let me know which color you want to see. Come on, don't be shy. Let me know. Purple? Ooh, we have a purple girly here. You want to see purple? Anyone else? No? Okay, let's do purple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap this flower onto this rose. Okay? Yellow or purple? Let's go with purple. Okay. Okay, so dip. I'm not tapping because I want my beads to be big. Again, if you want your bead to be smaller, you tap to remove some of the excess of the monomer in your brush. And then when you pick up your bead, you'll get a smaller bead. But I want my beads to be big. Pick up the bead. Let's start here. Gotta wait a few seconds for that bead to release from your brush. Okay. See how nice and round it is? We're gonna wait for it to polymerize a little bit longer. In this case, we can still count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, this petal, you're going to push down at a 45-degree angle, but you're going to make it wider from the beginning. You want a wider round bead. See how big it is? And then in the middle, you're going to poke that baby inside like a heart. See? Let's go again. Pick up a big bead. Place it. Let go of the bead. Let it fully polymerize. Thank you. No problem, babe. You can follow me. It doesn't ask me to accept anybody. It's a public Instagram. You can just DM me. Don't be afraid. Show me your flowers. I will love, 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 love to see your flowers. Again, we waited. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pushing down at a 45-degree angle. A little bit more pressure to make this petal wider and bigger. We're going to do that round motion. And then in the middle, poke it a little bit towards the center to make it look like a heart. And then put pressure on those 2 petals. See? Pick up the other bead. Again, these colors, I made them myself. And I think I did a live on it. So you can just definitely look through my lives. And you can find it. I can show you when I'm done with this petal, the acrylic that I purchased. If you are interested, I can also show you the mica powders that I purchased so that, you know, you can make your own acrylics. I don't gatekeep over here. There's no gatekeeping over here. These are tough times. Everybody's trying to learn to do their own nails. So let's do this together, besties. Thank you. Okay, again, 45-degree angle down. A little bit more pressure. We're going to make this petal round, round, round. As round as we can. And then in the middle, you're going to make that heart shape. And then we're going to go again and emphasize on those 2 sides. And that's how I made it. I mean, these ones are a bit smaller. And then what I did was I just added the caviar beads in the middle. You can make it a lot smaller to make it make sense. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Don't forget to hit that like button. Share this if you find this helpful. It will be available if you don't have the items right now. It'll be up and available for whenever you need to see it. Make sure to comment. Leave me a comment on how your progress was. And follow me on Instagram. Send me pictures of your flowers. I would love to see those. So now, as promised, I'm going to show you guys the acrylic that I use. I purchased everything on Amazon, like I said. This is the acrylic brand that I use. Take notes or take a screenshot and then go to Amazon. This is a 460 gram. This is going to last you a very long time if you're doing nails only for yourself. Actually, these colors that I have on, as you can see at the bottom, is green and blue, are these 2 colors that I have here. And they glow in the dark. And then let me get the pigments so I can show you the pigments that I purchased. Give me 1 second. So these are the pigments. As you can see, it comes with a bunch of colors. So you literally have the rainbow. You mix this, just a little bit of this with the acrylic, and you have your different colors. You can take a picture, but just go to Amazon and search powders, pigment powders. Another brand that I really like is this brand. This is a really good brand, and it comes with so many colors. This says it's a 5 gram, but it's a pretty good size. Like, this will last you a really, really long time. Again, it might be a big purchase at first, but trust me, you're going to have the rainbow. Take a screenshot, write down the name, or you can come back and watch the video again. Now you can also make your glitter acrylics. I also make my own glitter acrylics. For example, this is one of them. I have a video. There's a live here on my channel on how I made this. I even made a few and sold some acrylics as well. Yep. These are really, really beautiful. Trust me, bestie, it's going to be a big investment at first, but then you're not going to need anything else. You're not going to have to buy from all these brands that are like super expensive. You can just do your own stuff. Like I said, I also have a live where I created these particular acrylics. Look for it. Try it. Let me know. Leave me a comment. Share a like. Let me know that you watched the live. Take notes. This is another one. Tangled Dreams. And I'm going to show you the brand that I use for the glitters as well, so that you can purchase them. Again, no gatekeeping over here. I want my besties to grow same way I'm growing, by myself. This is the brand of some of the glitters that I purchased. This brand, believe it or not, there's a lot of creators that sell their acrylics, and these are the glitters that they use. I've seen, I don't want to mention names, but I have seen some content creators that make their acrylics and they sell them. And I can literally sit down and recreate one of their colors, because I can see what's within the glitters. And they sell regular glitters. They sell, these are shards. As you can see, all the colors right here. You can mix the glitters with shards and you get what I just showed you. Again, go and look for the live. You're going to find it. Another brand that I use is just Nikki. She makes some very beautiful glitters. They're smaller, but they're great. This amount is more than enough for you guys. So search it, just Nikki. She also has a YouTube channel here. And it's the same name, just Nikki. And you'll find whenever she does her acrylics or sells them. I think she just posted a video on packing orders. The only thing I actually purchase are cover colors. Those are the things that I actually purchase. I do not buy color acrylics from any brand. From any brand. Let me put this away real quick so I could show you the glow on the set that I'm wearing right now. This set is my birthday set, and I did this set yesterday. Also, all these charms on Amazon, they have really good deals. They go for like $10, and they bring a lot of these different types of charms and stuff. Where's the other one? But I do want to inspire you to work on your art. Another thing I want to explain to you guys, cleaning the brush is so important. It's so, so important. I cannot tell you how important this is. So when you're going to clean your brush, of course, you're going to go to the bottom, spread those, the bristles of the brush, right? Then you're going to go to the side and you're gonna kind of brush it up. You're going to do the same thing just in case there's any acrylic with inside the bristles of the brush. You're going to leave it wet. You're going to brush up, down, side, side, and you want to make sure that your brush stays with this shape. If your brush loses the shape, it's going to be hard for you to make flowers. That's why I kept emphasizing on how much pressure should you put whenever you are. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you. Thank you. On the importance of, how much pressure you put. The more pressure you put on the brush, the more acrylic is going to get stuck in between those bristles of the brush. Make sure that whenever you're doing anything acrylic related, the brush is in fact 100% Kolinsky. Let me turn off the light so I can show you the glow. Give me 1 second. And I did this set yesterday with my bestie. There was something going on. Something went wrong on the live. And I ended up going back again, but on her channel because I couldn't go back on my own channel. People couldn't hear me. It was a hot mess. So if you want to follow her as well, it is Sugared Eclipse Nails here on YouTube. Sandra Sparkly Sets also has a channel. Conjure Up Nails also have a channel here on YouTube. These are wonderful ladies you can follow and you can learn a lot from them. For example, Sandra is the stamping queen. If you want to learn how to stamp, that is a very beautiful art. Sandra's the best for that. Conjure, when it comes to drawing, she's a beast. Okay? So you want to learn how to create characters, she's the person to go to. If you want creative stuff with either gel or acrylic, Sugared Eclipse is the person for you. She's very, very creative. In fact, I learned from her how to create my own acrylics. Okay? Are you ready for that glow? Are you ready? Here it is. I absolutely love my birthday set. Of course, there's light in here, so it's not going to look as bright, but I don't care if people think it's too much. This is what I love, art, and these are the type of sets that I do. So if you're into nails and long nails with charms, whether it's 3D art or bling placement, you can definitely subscribe to my channel. I'm the person for you. And you can look through everything, all my lot. Lately, I have not been posting videos because I would have to edit and I don't have time. I actually have a full-time job. This is not my full-time job. YouTube is my hobby. I'm actually a pharmacy technician, not a nail tech. So I have a regular, 9 to 5 kind of work. So this is just a hobby. And people love to see my nails whenever they go to my job. They go to pick up prescriptions and they end up asking me, what am I wearing on my nails? And I cannot wait to show them this. A set like this, you know how people can charge, how much they can charge for a set like this? I would say over $250. And the total that I paid, it's less than $50 because I created my own acrylics, my own colors, my own glitter. The only thing that I purchased separately was the cover color. So that's the only thing I buy from any company, cover colors. But the rest, regular colors, I do them myself. Yep, at least 200 in a shop. Yep. And that's length in some bling. And I actually, not all of these came in the same box, but you can pay up to $10 for a bag of like, I don't know, 20, 30, depending on the seller on Amazon. You can search nail charms or gold nail charms if you're into gold, or silver if you're into silver, and you can get your own stuff. That's how I got everything that I have. Everything is from Amazon. The only thing that could change, maybe it could be the cover colors. And if you're brand new to acrylic and you feel like whatever acrylic you have is setting too fast, the best brand is this one, Dynamic. I'm not affiliated with them. I purchase my acrylics myself. This one is in the color 180. This jar right here is $6. 2 ounces, $6. So if I recommend something to you, it's going to be something either affordable, and if it's pricey, believe me, it's a good product. So there you go, besties. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for being here today. I welcome you to, if you want, subscribe, share it, like I said, so that new people can join. I do have membership for $4.99 a month that I will be starting to do really soon, where I will go live privately with my members. I used to do, there's a bling class. There's 2 bling classes, if I'm not mistaken, in my membership. I have a 3D flower class right there, which I also explain with detail everything that I just did today. Except this time I decided to do it, just for everyone. Because, I mean, everybody deserves to learn. And if they are in love with this type of craft, just like me, I want them to grow. Because when you grow, I grow, bestie. Okay? I love you all. Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and please leave me a comment at the end of this live. Okay? Thank you so much for being here today. I love you all, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Let me place right here the flowers that we did today. Bye bye.